Well, I chose to do my devotional in the children's Sunday school class because it looks like they are studying the same exact thing that I've been teaching in Good News Club. We're going through the book of Exodus in Good News Club and learning about Moses and Pharaoh. And I think it is interesting with Moses and with Pharaoh, even though Moses was going to know this, God told him in advance that Pharaoh was going to harden his heart and he would not let his people go. And I'm wondering, I wondered, why did God have Moses do 10 plagues? Why not just one? Why give Pharaoh even a second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th chance? And I don't think it was just for Pharaoh's sake to show that God is a gracious God. I think a lesson that could be learned is that God was showing the Israelites the lesson to not harden their heart, to trust God, to not trust man, to not trust their own instinct, not trust their feelings, because our feelings are fragile, but rather to trust God and his word. And then we look at the Israelites, and as they were going into the wilderness, as they're being led out of Egypt, did they learn their lesson? No, they didn't learn their lesson. Just like Pharaoh, the Israelites hardened their heart. They didn't learn a lesson, not even after 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, many different times. They forgot that there is one God, that there is one deliverer, that Yahweh is the one who is going to provide. And instead, they looked at their circumstance and they hardened their heart. And just like Pharaoh, God allowed the Israelites, that whole generation, to stay in the wilderness for those 40 years and not go into the promised land. And we can look at Pharaoh, we can look at the Israelites and think, wow, can't believe they didn't learn their lesson. But how about me? How many times has God shown me in his word and in other people's lives, if you go down this road, this is what's going to happen. If you don't obey this command, if you do this instead, this is going to be the consequence. Instead of loving the world, love God. That is where true happiness and joy comes from. But how many times have how many times have you, even though we know this in our mind and we have read this and we've seen it, how many times have we hardened our heart and chosen to go our own way? They say those who don't learn from history often repeat it. And so may we learn even these children's Sunday school lessons. May we hold on to them, knowing that what the Egyptians went through, what the Israelites went through, what the early church went through, what we go through, may we learn those lessons so that we don't have a hard heart, but a soft heart that receives God's truth. Well, thank you for joining me, and I pray that you have a good and blessed week.